Once again, and what we are going to do is we're going to take the Monte Carlo simulation. We're going to run 500 iterations, and we're going to take the history of basically the data reference to SARS-CoV-2 and use it to move a projection ahead to, I believe, what is sometime about mid-November. Now, we're going to look at our data and compare it to the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, which is the primary source of data that the United States utilizes in order to determine its pandemic mitigation strategy. Now, here is the IHME's prediction as far as daily deaths starting from October. Now, if you notice, it's running contrary to a lot of other predictions from MIT, Los Alamos National Laboratory, so on and so forth. But once again, the media, potentially for reasons of sensationalism, likes to use the IHME data, and we are going to run our Monte Carlo simulation and see exactly how it compares. Now remember, our data we're getting for Our World in Data, which is from Oxford University, one of the best data sources out there. I encourage you to go there if you're looking for data. Wonderful, wonderful data explorer. Basically, they've compiled great data, tons of CSV files you can download, and you can do the exact same thing I am doing. And again, here we go. We're going to start running our Monte Carlo simulation. Also, too, as a caveat, real fast. Now, what's happened is with the IHME, they have one interesting aspect to their data. They claim that cloth or medical grade masks can reduce infections by wearers by at least 1/3. I will reiterate that point, at least 1/3. Now, those that are familiar with the protective functions of masks and physical distancing, so on and so forth, that is real intriguing claim. Again, that's from the IHME. So let's proceed as follows. Let's get our Monte Carlo simulation moving. All right, we got our CSV file downloaded. We are going to change our date times to something that the system can actually use. We are going to get our data for the future and then get our date ranges. We are going to set the index to the date because it looks really nice on graphs. And we are going to look for the United States, of course. This is US. We're going to look at new deaths smoothed per million, total cases, and new cases smoothed per million. All right, now there's a reason I chose the date to start, and that was August 12th, and you're about to see why in a second. It may involve something called antigenic drift, or you never know, our treatments could have become far superior recently, but we'll look at that data later on tomorrow on Saturday and Sunday. Look what happened on August 12th. Look at your new deaths current U.S. as they begin to drop. That is a pretty significant drop. So what I did is I'm counting on, it's confounding and biased, but it's the best guess, let's put it that way. August 12th, there being an increase in transmissibility, but a decrease in lethality. It could be directly due to antigenic drift, the virus itself, treatments, increased or enhanced immune systems of those that's exposed, being shared throughout the community, so on and so forth. So let us begin. But that's the reason why I chose August 12th. All right, now let's get a data frame going. Now we're going to start predicting the future utilizing Monte Carlo, henceforth the variable nostrodamus. Again, this little function right here is going to be on YouTube. You just cut and paste it, play with it on your own. You can see the whole lineup there and so on and so forth, and mess with it however you want to see fit, but it will help if I get it running. There it goes. All right, now you put the data, total cases, we're going to put into our Monte Carlo function, and what we're going to come up with first one is cumulative. So don't freak out about this. This is all with a 95% interval, 500 iterations, because these are total cases. So remember, you can't go backwards. You're always going to end up having more. And the media utilizes total deaths and total cases often in their graphs because it creates a sensationalist drive. It gets attention, albeit not helpful. So it's better to go by new daily cases or deaths per million or so on and so forth. Something that the public can grasp onto, especially when situations are improving. It's nice to give people a little bit of hope. So here we go. Look at that. Look at that. It's almost on XY. It's like 1-to-1 in reference to the slope. It's like, you could basically almost cut like a 45-degree line. That is weird, predictability wise. So let's begin. Next one. We're looking at new cases per million. Again, we're both seeing this for the first time because each Monte Carlo simulation is always going to be a little different. So here we go. And this is what we have here. Now look, now obviously you see a few outliers here and there, but look at this. The bulk of the information, you may notice a slight slope. So here we're looking at October 2nd, and you're seeing it all the way down to November 21st. So this is in conflict with the IHME's predictions, or projections, I should say, because look at it begin to drop. We're looking at about 130 cases per million on a daily basis, all the way down to approximately right about that line. You could tell me. I would say about 100 cases per million within about 50 days or so. So a pretty precipitous drop in a relatively short period of time for something which you may consider a global pandemic. All right, now we're going to go to new deaths per million. Now this is going to be interesting because the algorithm, and there's so many variables, again, to enhance medical treatments, basically the drift of the virus, so on and so forth, that can play a role in this. But math is math, and the math here is basically designed to predict the future. Here we go. And so basically, look at this. New deaths per million. Definitely contrary to the projections from the IHME, which the U.S. government uses to formulate policy. So look at this. You're looking at about 2.25 unfortunate deaths per million for October 2nd, dropping down to approximately, if you follow this line here, except for a few crazy apocalyptic outliers, you're looking down to about 1.5 in the next 50 days, a pretty significant drop of deaths per million. You even have some outliers which basically bring the pandemic almost to a point of non-existence. But at the same time, in the other scope of the spectrum, life can be a flip of a coin. And so now that, if we compare with, that mass thing bugs me. We compare with this, our data is more in line with probably this one right here, and that's University of California, or even the Imperial College of London, I believe that is. Yeah, that's Imperial College of London. So it's probably more in line with that, and definitely not in line with, I cannot pronounce that, but you understand what I mean, YYG. But all these don't match projections from the IHME, which happens to guess which one the U.S. government uses for its pandemic planning. Well, I guess it's not a bad idea to go for worst case scenarios, but still, even the projections is an outlier in reference to the other projections as a whole. So I don't know where they're getting the data to make this projection, but still just the same. A Monte Carlo simulation is basically not looking that way. Let's run a few less iterations real fast without having to explain it, just so make things a little easier to see. And so here go our projections. All right, so we're only going 10. All right, this is going to be pretty the same. And there we are. Still almost about a 45-degree angle. New cases per million projection over the next 50 days about. Still about the same. Majority of projections are in a downward trend. We have 2 out of the 10 which are not. They tend to go up before they begin to go down. And again, from October 2nd to November 21st in a Monte Carlo scenario. And now we go to new deaths per million. And here we go. A little easier to read. We have one really scary outlier, but a majority of the 9 out of 10 seem to be heading in a pretty significant downward trend. And one very incredibly hopeful outlier where the new deaths per million by November 21st starts reaching almost a non-existent aspect. But most likely, drawing a line down the middle, a significant drop. Things tend to get better based upon past performance. Apologize, not past performance. That's when we deal with the financial aspect of Monte Carlo, the past history of COVID itself. Again, doing this a day ahead of time. so we can review other information in reference to Scandinavian countries. We're going to fact check Fauci. We're going to compare states, the United States, to those which have stringent lockdown measures compared to those that do not. We're going to start looking at Florida now to see exactly how they perform over time, since we're really easing the lockdown last week. And we'll try to make a little bit of fun looking at data in reference to COVID to see exactly where we stand as comparison against to those places that have draconian measures compared to those which have more personal responsibility. Ralph signing off once again. Code will be posted on the YouTube site. Look forward to seeing you all very soon. Hope didn't bore many of you, but this is Pythonic, and Pythonic is an incredible language for basically analyzing data, and I hope you all get involved in to some extent, because knowing how to analyze data truly is freedom. It sounds technical and scary, but you know what? Once you can see data, other people can't scare you as much because you already know what's behind that door, and you're not relying upon them to tell you what's behind that door. Make any sense? All right, cool. Catch you all later on. Bye.